if Enzo's insights as a photographer could inspire your legacy? I'd like to welcome Enzo to the Design Your Legacy podcast this lovely Friday morning. Welcome, Enzo.
Hey, Angelina, thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. And I just want to share a little bit about your bio for a moment. You have had an opportunity not only to travel the world for 20 years, documenting amazing stories, but you've also worked with major publications like Vanity Fair, Vogue, Elle, The Times, and so forth. And I looked at your work on Instagram, and it is amazing, amazing, amazing. So, would you share a little bit about yourself to break the ice with the listeners?
Well, I'm glad you like my pictures. Thank you. Yes, I am a photographer and I've been doing this for the last 24 years, 23 years as a profession. Um, I started just in a moment of my life that my previous occupation was sort of ending. And then I was asking to myself, what would I like to do? And okay, before that, I was directing lots of photographers. I was an art director. I was owning a PR firm, so we would organize all sorts of photo shoots, and then some of the photographers I was directing that invited me to consider being a photographer myself. And I thought, no. But then, then I said, okay, why not? And then I started slowly, but I was pretty successful right from the beginning. And because I was very unusual in a way, I mean, it's something that I did like, yeah, that would be nice to do that. And I have lots of ideas. And I would introduce myself with lots of ideas, very few pictures. And thinking now, the way I was introducing myself, it was very unprofessional. And I was introducing myself in a very unprofessional way, but with so much enthusiasm that people thought, I think they thought, like, this guy is a bit mad. So let's see what he can do. And then yeah, um, pretty much a success from the beginning. So I've been, yes, traveling the world and uh, finding very interesting stories to share with the audience, with the readers of magazines. I'm mainly an editorial photographer. Then I started doing fashion and other things, but my main thing is portraiture, actually. And so I do portraits whenever I have to cover a story, or even when I do fashion, I do fashion portraits.
Yes. And you're born and raised in Italy?
Yes,
Yes. What
absolutely.
part?
Milano. I
Okay.
am Milan. Yes. And I've been living here and there for little whiles. I've been very often in the States for a period. I've been for a period I was dividing myself between Milan and Paris. So yeah, and because of my work, I've been traveling a lot, really a lot. And the amazing thing when you travel a lot is that what looks really like real and right and things need to be this way, in one place, in another place is totally different. So
Yeah.
let's say you are in one day shooting a story, and like women needs to wear, well, they are covered in black basically. And then next day, maybe I need to be in Brazil on the beach. And then you have women that are almost naked, and that's perfectly normal. So what's perfectly normal in one place, it's absolutely a no thing in another place, and the other way around. So who is right and who is wrong? It's amazing because when you travel so much, you really see that we are making up things. There is nothing right, nothing wrong. Well, there are things that are really wrong, like violence and things like that. But about habits, about taste, about the way we take life, we see life, we approach life, is just something that we're making up. And so nothing is so serious after all.
Yes, yes. Well, I think what you're speaking into is the nuances of culture and all the little distinctions around etiquette. So let me transition for a moment. Your interest to explore photography was a path to self-discovery and personal growth. What else inspired you to start taking pictures?
Um, I'm always very curious to see to find out something about the person I photograph or the situation I'm exploring. I'm very curious, and being a photographer is almost an excuse to be, you know, in contact with people that I would never be in contact otherwise. So that's a big drive for me. Um, Traveling, meeting people, meeting very, um, meeting amazing people. Maybe people you never heard about, but they are busy with a project that is so interesting, or you know, all sorts of people. And each time I photograph someone, I end up knowing myself a bit better, because whenever you confront yourself with someone else, someone that is very different from you, or someone that you have something in common with, at the end of the day, you end up also inquiring a little bit into yourself. You know, how about me? Uh, how come I never saw life the way this person is looking at life, you know, or things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. They say that even about coaching, that a coach can only lead their client if they themselves have done the inner work.
Ah, true, true. Possibly,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So, out of curiosity, what made you get better and better at what you do, like over the years?
Well, being good, it's an opinion, you know, because like I could say what helped me to work a lot. And I don't know if it's because I'm good or not, but because people needed what I had to do, what I wanted to do, what I was curious to develop. So if I was curious to find out about the story that was going on in, I don't know, Cambodia, I would talk about this idea with um, an editor, and they would say, yes, fantastic. But they could have said no, you know, and then am I good? I don't know. So I was good in having lots of idea in the past and even now, but now things have changed a lot because magazines are really shrinking, they are closing down. So also my work has changed a lot. I work less with magazine and more, you know, like the fashion, different things. Um, we need to reinvent ourselves every day, photographers, because the world is changing a lot and we need to change with the world.
Yeah. The images, though, I think are so important because when Instagram basically just became, a household name, it's because everybody loved looking at the image, the pictures,
Mhm.
the photographs. It captures a moment in time and an essence of that person. So my next question to you is, what touches a person's heart to have them connect with that image or to feel something?
Ah, okay. I could say this, that whenever I point my lens on someone, that person normally is trying to seduce my camera, you know, to look pretty, to look nice, to look intelligent, to look smart, because of course they want to show the best side. They want to be remembered in a nice way, because whenever I take a picture, then the picture stays. And normally they want to show me their social mask in a way. And this, um, maybe I photographed that, but I'm curious to look at what's behind that because it's more interesting. So um, usually implicit in what they show me, there is what they want to hide. Maybe someone that is a little bit shy tend to pretend to be very confident. So they want to show a side of themselves very confident, and they're hiding that they're a bit shy. So I think it's very interesting that I distract them a little bit so that I see what they're trying to hide. But if I photograph that, it's maybe they're not happy because they're trying to hide it, you know. So I try to go even under that uh,
The facade,
yeah, under that
mask.
layer, I would say under that layer. No,
Okay.
I mean, I have a first layer, which is what they want to show me. Then I have another layer that is what they want to hide. And then if I manage to go behind that, normally there is a more something that is more still, something that I can call the silence, because there is no, I don't really see so much mental noise like, oh, please look at, look at this, photograph me this way, or, I don't want to show you this. But it's more a neutral and more transparent expression. And I find that that expression is what I'm looking for. I find that is really interesting because I can see a person behind all that mental noise in a way. So, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I like.
I would think that's like there's a rawness to that human nature, that moment. That's the truth.
The truth. Yeah, that would be nice. But it's not so obvious. It's not that everyone is showing me the truth just because I'm there with my camera. It sometimes is really impossible because people are
Guarded.
very often are so used to interact with other people with a social mask that is
Mm.
really hard to look at what's behind that.
Yeah.
It's incredibly interesting to look behind the social mask of someone, but it's also very hard sometimes. So it's not taken for granted that I can take a picture and see that.
Yeah.
But
I
in
mean,
many of my pictures, you see that people are very quiet, are, in a way, are very neutral, and also the viewers are not the same. So when I see what I call the silence, some people look at my picture and say, "My goodness, they are all sad." No, and I don't think they're sad. They are just more relaxed. They are more
contemplate
neutral.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me bring up the word purpose. In my world of holistic legacy planning, purpose oftentimes is the North Star, the reason that somebody wakes up in the morning. And in your world of photography, how did your journey of photography allow you to help you find your purpose?
Wow. Um, I've been asking this to myself several times because sometimes, especially beginning of my career, I was more maybe excited. Oh, I have to photograph a celebrity. Wow, how nice, or I have to do something beautiful, great pictures. And but now I'm more like I like when my photographs can inspire someone. So if first of all I'm the one who gets inspired when I'm looking for a story to cover or when I'm photographing someone or and then I inspire the viewer. And that's really my purpose. I would say that I think I'm useful if I'm inspiring someone. It's not bad, to knowing that you're being inspiring someone.
Yeah, that's deep. That's
Maybe it's just a small thing, just giving an idea. But for instance, whenever I discover a nice project, and because of me, that project becomes public. And a lot of people get inspired by the project and say, oh, I could do the same. Or they say, oh, this project is great and I would like to support it and I'm going to help them out. So that's a pretty nice thing to do because you really see things changing because you put your attention on something. That's beautiful.
yeah. I think it's great. I think it's great. It's almost like an act of spiritual service to inspire others so that they can remember that they can also uh, rise to the occasion.
Right.
Yeah. How has photography improved your sense of well-being? When I think about today, sometimes people can fall through the cracks, whether it's inflation or just the stress and so forth. So, how has photography improved your sense of well-being?
Well, sometimes I am stressed when I have to take pictures, but you have to learn how to calm your mind. At least I had to learn that. And because when you photograph, you have so many things that you have to take care of. Not only your camera settings, but um, you know, all sorts of things, the light, the composition, and the background. And when you're photographing someone, the most important thing is being able to connect with the person and to take out the best of the person. So connection is very important, and you can't really connect with someone when you are distracted because you need to take care of your camera. And so you need to learn how to multitask and that's something you do much better when your mind is calm. So I really had to learn how to be very present and not get, and how can I say, to be very present without being distracted by details. So be present to the um, um, the complexity of a situation without following something in particular. I don't know if I have been clear or not.
No, I think that's wonderful. I think that because you had to deliver in professionalism as a photographer, then it
Mhm.
had a ripple effect in your personal life in terms of
Absolutely. Yes.
it's
Yes.
almost like a tennis star because they have to train and exercise. The side effect then is they naturally are healthy.
Yes. 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 I would say so because uh, we need to be, we are exposed, we photographers are exposed to enormous stress sometimes. And we absolutely need to learn how to deal with difficult situations. And this is staying with you. So uh, that's why I think that learning how to deal with difficult situations is also helping me with my general well-being and with my everyday life.
Interesting. I know you're going to speak about meditation in a moment, but what is what is the cause of the stress? Is it deadlines? Is it managing expectations of all of the parties between, let's say, the editors of the fashion magazines? What causes the stress?
Or maybe all of those things together.
Okay,
Or maybe you have a bad weather and you were expecting to have a different weather, so you have to change all your plans. And you have to photograph someone that is being really difficult. And they say, I want to be photographed this way, or things like that. Or I don't like the makeup artist. I want a different makeup artist. So there are so many things that normally happen.
okay,
And maybe and then your camera breaks. All those things and they happen all the time. I mean, my camera didn't break that much, but you need to have another camera with you,
of
and then
course.
maybe you have to go in a place, and then there is a flooding the day before that, or maybe there is a strike, or maybe the trains have there is a train accident. All those things happen to me, and to most photographers do happen. So it's not something that you can just relax, take your picture, because when you travel so much and when you continuously meet different people, new people, um, you know, it's very possible that lots of things are happening, and they do happen. So
Mm,
that's why it can be very stressful in a way. Or you can simply say, okay, this is the way things are today, and let's see what we can do with what we have.
yeah, very nice. Since this is a legacy podcast, I was curious, who has inspired you?
Who inspired me? I get inspired like every day by the people that I meet. Sometimes sometimes people that they are not aware of inspiring me, but they do because maybe they are doing something, um, what can I say, because they've been nice or because I don't know for many reasons. You can be inspired by a dog that is walking. There are so many things. Dogs, I love dogs, and they normally remind you how to be simple and how to be gentle. Lots of dogs are so gentle, so nice, so they're angels. So maybe you're having a bad day, and then you cross the road and you see a dog and you go like, okay, so that dog is inspiring me to be a little bit more like a dog.
I think that's a great answer. And that I think truly you're an artist because you notice the details.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Of what is around you, what is around your environment, and that's a lovely answer. I was thinking you might have said like some fashion icon like Donatella Versace or some well-known photographer in the industry. So I'm always pleasantly surprised.
No, but I can add something if I can. That inspiration can come in mainly two different ways. And one, when I expose myself to lots of, I don't know, exhibitions and books and music and movies, a lot of creativity, and I have a look at what other people have been creating, can be incredibly inspiring. But also when I try to make real uh, silence in my mind, and maybe I'm having a bath, or I'm walking in the nature, or doing something that I don't have any um, um, anything um, that is asking my mind to follow it. Just nature, or and then in those moments when my mind is calm and I don't have distractions, then sometimes an inspiration comes from where I don't know, but just it popping up in my mind that this is a good idea. Why not? And so I follow that, you know.
Yeah. Good, good. What does the word legacy mean to you personally? And I know in our preamble you had shared a few thoughts, but what does legacy, the word itself, what does it mean to you personally?
Say it again. I didn't get it.
What does the word legacy mean to you personally?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I have to say that I'm so happy to be here in this podcast because I had to focus myself in asking this question. And the easiest thing to answer is like, yeah, my photography is my legacy, but I really don't think that's the main thing. And first of all, I am the legacy of all the people that I met in my life because one way or another, I'm carrying their inspirations, their influence, their good and their bad influences that they gave me. So I am the legacy of them. And photos, of course, are an amazing legacy because, um, for instance, if you can look at a photo of a relative that you never met, and now you have a better idea about, oh, this is like part of my family. Wow, I never met this person. I always heard to talk about him or her, and this is helping me to have a better idea about my family, or also about the world, because maybe you see the faces of those who made history, and then it's more interesting. So without pictures, facts are remembered in a different way, and pictures are really helping you to have a better idea about things. So that means that for us photographers, this is a huge responsibility because it depends on the way I photograph someone. Then, maybe 30 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, other people will look at this picture and they will have an idea according to the way I photograph this person. So I'm defining the memory of the person, and which is a huge responsibility if you think about that. I can make a funny picture of you, and then in 100 years from now, someone is going to look at your picture and say, my God, this person was so funny. But maybe you are not only funny, you are also funny, but you're also something different. And when we take a picture, normally we underline a facet of a person, just one of the thousand facets of a person, aspects of a person. So this is why photos are an amazing legacy, but also commercial photography can be a legacy because I'm shooting like a campaign and now it looks like very modern and very nice and very trendy. And then in 2 years from now, it looks old. It looks, oh my God, this is what happened 2 years ago or 10 years ago. That looks old. But in 30 years from now, 50 years from now, it looks interesting again. Like, oh, this is the way the world was 50 years ago. So that's also a legacy. Like commercial photography can be an interesting um, legacy. And also, and of course, as I said, also personal photography, like a selfie can be a legacy because you might not give value to a picture. Let's say you are having a good day with a friend and you take a picture of your friend. Then in that moment, it's just a picture of your friend. But when your friend is not going to be here anymore, no, that's that's a very valuable memory of a person, of a moment, of the love that was between you and this person. I mean, love or friendship or whatever. So a picture can bring you back to something that you've been living that is probably in your mind or better in your heart. But a picture, looking at a picture, it's like a tool to connect you with something that you've been experiencing,
Oh,
in my opinion.
that's a marvelous answer. Thank you. Thank you. Um, my next
But
question. Oh, please go ahead. Please
can
go
can we
ahead.
go? No, because I started saying I got lost, but I
Oh,
started saying that the legacy is not necessarily connected to pictures, to my work,
okay.
because what I would say that the most important legacy that I'm feeling I'm living here, it's not my photography, but it's the way I've been treating people around me, the
Mm.
connection that I had with them, and this can have a ripple effect. And for instance, recently someone contacted me on Facebook, and he used to be the assistant of a friend of mine, and we totally missed contact like for maybe 30 years. And this guy contacted me, and now, at the time he was the assistant of someone, and now he's a yoga teacher, and he is he's doing fantastic things. Like he's doing free classes for old people, um, and he's vegan, and he's supporting people in having a healthy lifestyle. And he really wanted to contact me and say, I really have to thank you because you inspired me some 35 years ago, something like that. And I was like, wow, how come? Like I really wasn't aware of that because you were, just a nice person. We would laugh together. And he said to me that when he saw me cooking, because sometimes he would have, I would cook, I love cooking, he saw that I was enjoying very much cooking and I was preparing something delicious. And I'm vegan myself. And so I was preparing something super healthy that wasn't killing anyone, and really very, very good. That was making everyone happy because I cook well. People really like when I cook. And so he said, looking at you cooking inspired me. And years later, I decided, I want to go vegan as well. And I never said to him, why don't you go vegan? I don't do that. But for him, it was like the first step that then brought him to, become a yoga teacher and have a lifestyle that actually I don't have myself. But he started um, inspired by me. So I think this is a fabulous legacy because if this happened to him, maybe it happened to other people. And I'm sure that other people really don't like me, and okay, that's okay. Uh, but I think all of us, we have we have a legacy bigger than we are aware of. And I think this is probably the most important legacy that we leave behind us. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's brilliantly said, and I agree with you for noticing that and acknowledging that. And I'm just curious, what's your favorite dish to prepare?
Ooh, I have so many. Now, actually, I'm in right now, I'm obsessed with cooking something with zucchini, mint, and wait, zucchini, mint, ginger, garlic, what else? Zucchini, mint, I think that's it. And you chop the zucchini really fine, and then you put everything together. And I like to prepare it with rice or with pasta. Pasta, I'm Italian, so I like pasta. Oh, and olive oil, of course. Lots of olive oil.
Oh, that's very nice, very nice. Um, so, is there a picture, the final day of your life, if you were to think of it, like what would be that ideal? If there is a final, like if you think back, okay, this is my final day and I've completed everything on what they call the bucket list. um,
Mhm.
what would that what would that look like in terms of the satisfaction and the fulfillment?
I would like to arrive on my final day thinking, okay, I've done everything I could. I think it would be very difficult to know that I'm dying, and knowing that I could have done things that I didn't do.
Mm.
Um, so I think it's important that, if I have the idea for writing another book, that I manage to write it before I die or things like that. Um, because when we have projects, especially if we are so enthusiastic about those, I think it's really important that we bring them to life. When we have an inspiration, let's say, it's important. And yeah, I mean, now, for instance, I'm very happy about the retreats that I'm leading
Yeah, I
in
was going to ask you about
Thailand.
that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I'm so happy about. And because I've had hundreds of students, and I see that whenever they arrive sometimes, they don't really know much what's going on. But I see when they leave with a big smile in their heart. And for me, that's wonderful because I know that I've been supporting them in their process. And then they write to me maybe 1 year after, or 2 or 10. Once I got an email 10 years later, 10 years after someone came to my retreat, and he was saying, this is one of the most important things that I did in my life, and it really changed my life. And I was like, wow, wait a minute, I want to read this again. Because I don't know, people come and then they go, and I'm not in contact with everyone. But it's really nice thing to know that what I have to share is supporting other people.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we normally think a lot about how can how can I be more important and famous and more rich and more this and more that. But I've had periods of my life when I made a lot of money, for instance, and it sure is a nice feeling, but it's a much, 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 much better feeling to know that someone is more happy because of you, or someone discovers something because of you, or someone, whatever. It's not that I want them to be grateful to me. That's a different thing. That's someone saying, "Oh, you're so, you are so whatever. You help me a lot." No, that's a different thing. But just even if even if they are not aware that it's because of me, or who cares, to have someone grateful. But knowing that I've been making a difference in the life of someone else, that's a good difference, of course. That's priceless. That's really what makes me really happy. And so on my last day, I hope I can look back and say, okay, I've been doing enough, and now it's time to go.
Yeah. I would almost think that there would be a feeling of that fulfillment and satisfaction if you knew you gave your life everything inside of you.
Uh, Everything is inside of me. What do you mean?
Yeah, like you gave, like you didn't hold back, like whether it was your retreats or giving your photography projects your all, you knew that you
Mhm.
showed up and you gave it your
Oh,
all.
that was me. Yes, yes. You mean, yeah.
I wish I could say that in Italian.
Well, you can try if you wish. Um, yeah, I think that I've been, you know, doing. Normally, whenever I have an idea, I try to make it happen, and sometimes it really doesn't happen. But at least I've been trying, and because one important thing that I learned is that we normally think that, you know, if we really want to do something to happen, then we make it happen. But no, it's not true. We really want something to happen. Let's say you really want to open a restaurant in the Twin Towers, and then September 11 happens. So you really spent all your money in buying space, in the PR and in advertising and everything. But then there is a bigger reality than you and your desire that is kicking in. And so, we can put our causes and hoping that an effect is coming out of that. But we live in a world, in a reality that is plenty of people putting their own causes. So the best thing that we can do is learn how to ride the wave in a way, right? And adapt to the world that is changing. So one day, in fact, I don't know if this happened to you as well, but for me, sometimes I don't even try to make something happen, and something fabulous happens in my life. I have a big achievement, and other times I really, really, really want something to happen, and there is no way to make it happen. Why? Well, I'm glad I'm trying, but I don't need to be too, disappointed if then it doesn't happen. At least I tried.
Yes, that's what I was mentioning before. To know that you tried, that you gave it your all, you showed up, and
Mhm, mhm.
sometimes it's meant to be, sometimes it's not, but you showed up in your presence.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this, like I say, I did. Yes.
I always ask guests as well as clients about this idea of a hardcover coffee table book for their personal legacy. And I think to myself, you've spent years of your life traveling the world and
Mhm.
reporting on interesting stories also. And I'm curious what images or insights would fill the pages of your hardcover coffee table book.
Um, I would probably share like the stories that have been touching me the most, and because they are so different, and stories of people, stories of projects, stories of all sorts of stories. The stories that have been influencing and inspiring me. Yeah, and in a way, I'm doing this now on Instagram. I mean, believe it or not, I just recently started using Instagram. I so didn't care about Instagram, so I had an account, but I posted one picture for 11 years. There have been one picture in my account. So, uh, and then everyone is saying me like, Enzo, you need to post something. You are a photographer. You need to be on Instagram. I say, okay. So it's just very recently I started posting the some of the pictures that I love and the story of the picture, like the what you normally don't know about the big, what happened on the day, if someone has been difficult, or if we shoot a picture, but it should have been a different picture, or things like that. And so I'm publishing these pictures, and I'm mixing like travel, fashion, portrait, which is the first big sin in Instagram, because you normally need to publish all the things that are pretty much the same, and I'm mixing styles. And then I do another thing that is really a no thing to do on Instagram, which is I'm writing a lot. I run big texts, and I write, the story and something. So yeah, I mean, some people really like it. Then the funny thing is that I receive like emails of people that are thanking me for publishing these things on Instagram, but those people are not commenting. They don't put a comment there. And I say, why don't you comment on Instagram? But I don't know.
Well,
Put a
I was just
comment.
going to say, I think it's just so much more personal if they reach out in the email. They don't want it to be on that public forum. I was just going to make a suggestion to save everything because I think once somebody posts on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, it becomes the intellectual property of Instagram.
Oh,
So if they were
yeah,
to ever do anything with your account, I would just save everything in a Word document or however you would like to, yeah, save it.
yeah.
But one of the things I shared with you in our preamble is there was a photograph of water being dumped on a model, and you
Uh-huh,
had shared the story with me that she was so cold that day but also just so patient, and I think it
very
really
patient.
allows someone that they see that work of art, but then also it's understanding the funny story about it, that
Yeah.
life isn't always perfect. It wasn't just, oh, she was beautiful. It was a lot of different
No,
moving parts.
she was very professional. She was very beautiful and very professional. So she's it was a big production. So we had this water coming down from the ceiling, and at the beginning it was lukewarm water. It couldn't be hot because then it would have been we would have had like steam, and so it needs to be lukewarm. But then for some reason, at a certain point, it was cold, not lukewarm anymore. And she didn't say a thing. She just said, "Oh, it's cold. That's it." And she was really cold, and I was feeling like, "Oh no, no, we have to end this now." And anyway, it didn't took too long to do that. but I know she catch a cold after that, and I was feeling so uncomfortable about that because she catch a cold because of me, and I was like, oh no. And so we've been emailing each other after, and we had to laugh a little bit about that. But I'm very happy she's not mad at me. Very happy because that was, yeah, not a nice thing to happen. Anyway, I'm very happy about that picture. That's a nice result, I would say.
Yeah, it's real life. It's real life. Yes. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to share on the subject of legacy, your retreats?
Legacy, I think I've been saying quite a lot. I don't know. Yeah, retreats. They are in Tuscany. So if anyone is curious to study with me, yeah, it's really a very nice experience for me as well. But it's a beautiful historical house in Tuscany where we spend 5 days, and we work a lot. Um, I don't teach anything that is technical. I don't teach how to use a camera or how to put lights and things like that. But I'm working a lot on relations between photographer and subject, and I'm working about on things like what do you do when you feel uncomfortable? You need to take a picture, but you feel like for some reason you feel uncomfortable, or the person in front of you is making you nervous, or is making you so excited that you forget about how to
Your
use your
focus.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
things like that. So we work a lot on those sort of things that normally are not covered in photography workshops or things like that. And we also meditate a little bit. And meditation actually is something very important in my life. I always kept it like not really like a secret, but I'm a very private person, so I normally don't share what I do in my private life. I started meditating some 35 years ago, 36 years ago. And really, it has been a big help also in my profession. How, it, it's a support that I can be pretty calm even when, the situation is
Yeah.
difficult. I mean, not always, but most of the time. So we meditate a little bit, and I actually, I've been trained as a meditation teacher, but I decided not to go in that direction, and so I prefer to have also the uh, identity of a photographer, which is lighter than a meditation teacher anymore. Because people are expecting a meditation teacher to be like perfect or almost holy, and I don't want that. I want to be able to be whatever. And while people they think that a photographer that is working for fashion magazines is maybe a bit crazy or have a life full of excesses, or which is not really the case. But I'm very happy that people think about that because it's a lighter identity in a way. So they can think about that, and then I teach meditation with that identity. That's fine, but it's not a lot of meditation. We just do a little bit of meditation in the morning, and then we do all these exercises, and it's very nice because a lot of people become friends, and yeah, I mean, we do lots of different exercises with the camera, without the camera, in couples and groups, on your own. um, it's a nice experience. So I have a website that is just dedicated to that, which is photography-retreats.com, and where you can find all the information.
That's lovely. Thank you. And I appreciate that you brought up the contrast between what it's really like in your life compared to the facade, to the narratives, the illusion. Somebody can see a movie like The House of Gucci, and then they think that your life is just going to be extravagant and dramatic. And there, yes, there will be the stress, but sometimes, it's not what is shown sometimes in the glossy magazines and so forth. In the image.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks God.
Before I read my closing paragraph, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for the insights. I know you had shared you're a private person, and so I'm grateful that you shared your private thoughts about the subject of legacy, your legacy, and also, where you find inspiration, therefore, to inspire others, whether it is the gentleness of dogs or just, these everyday moments that you can tap into, whether it's the downloads from the universe or just being able to have that connection with the subject and just the connection with fellow men and women, human beings.
I have to thank you actually, because without your interview, maybe I wouldn't have been thinking so deeply about this topic, which is, I'm very happy I went there.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So,
Thank you so much.
So, in closing, I'm Angelina Carleton, the hostess of the Design Your Legacy podcast, as well as the founder of Legacy Planning, a boutique advisory firm based out of Beverly Hills, California, but international in those I coach and consult. I hope to dive deep into subjects that can help a person define, develop, and execute their legacy, and continue to scour the landscape for those who can be great inspirations for every dimension of your legacy. For many listeners, there can never be enough education and preparation in the moot or moat around your castle. Whether you find yourself at new wealth or generational wealth, may the content on this channel be an anchor in any storms ahead. We do our best to provide original content for your intellectual and emotional curiosity. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud, please remember to rate and review, share with your family and friends, or send an email to either Enzo or myself to let us know your thoughts. So thank you so much for joining us this week, and thank you to Enzo for speaking into your legacy.